Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Dieter Melhorn Fishing Podcast. I hope you're having a good day, whatever day it is that you happen to be listening to the show. Today, we're going to talk about lithium boat batteries, specifically the deep cycle trolling motor batteries. Some good information for any of you folks that, have a boat, two, have a kayak, or even for you bank fishermen that are wanting to carry around some halfway lightweight portable power. Got something that you may be interested in. First, I want to thank everybody that's a regular listener for coming back and tuning in, either listening on the podcast platforms that are out there or here on YouTube. So the one advantage of the podcast on YouTube is you can see some stuff. I'm going to throw up some pictures of some stuff in this podcast, and it's kind of good to see. I try to do these things, though, if you're listening to them, so that you don't miss too much. There's not really anything great to see here, but sometimes, like with some of these lithium batteries, it's nice to kind of see them and get a visual idea of what the heck we're talking about. So, but that's what I'm going to talk about today. I switched out to some lithium batteries late last year. Some of y'all maybe have followed that, or at least part of my batteries are. I'm still using, for now, the, lead wet batteries that everybody has traditionally used, the lead acid types. I'm still using that for my cranking batteries, and haven't changed anything out there. I had some concerns about some of the recharging off of the motor coming off the alternator, and didn't want to deal with that, so I just stuck with the lead acid battery for my cranking battery. The way I configure both of my boats is the only thing that cranking battery does is crank the boat. So it's not powering any of the electronics, any of the batteries, anything, or any of the pumps, lights, anything like that. It's total cranking. So I'm okay with that. I can deal with that. But I've been messing around with these lithium batteries. And, I had a company reach out to me after they saw one of the podcasts I did last year about lithium batteries with an engineer from one of the companies. And they said, hey, we want you to try one of our batteries. And I said, cool, we'll run it through the paces, see how it performs. The company is dr.prepare. And if you look at it and read it real quickly, it looks like Dr. Pepper. It's actually Dr. Prepare, I think. I think it's a play on words. I think it's a little Dr. Prepare kind of thing, because honestly, and I'm speaking for, I'm just throwing this out there from when I see, these batteries are kind of engineered not so much for the boating industry per se, like a lot of the other lithium batteries out there. These seem to be, I guess, a little more for multiple uses, and there's a big segment of the lithium battery world that is built around sustainable power and power outages, preppers that are looking for a way to provide power for people that are camping, RVing, that type thing, some type of way to store power, stored energy, so you have electricity when you're not around someplace you can plug in. And that's kind of the if you look across their website, and I'll put you a link to all this where you can check it out, just kind of the gist of what I see. The other thing is the battery they sent me, and it's a 12 volt 100 amp hour battery. They actually sent me two of them. Let me back up for a second. What we were trying to do, I asked if they had a 24 volt battery, because I was looking for something initially for my Lund with the 24 volt trolling motor battery. They did not make a 24 volt one piece battery. Everything they make is 12 volt batteries. So they sent two of them, and we're going to run them together to get 24 volts. I actually opted not to do that because of some space issues and some charger issues. We'll get to that in a second. I'll explain that. But what I ended up doing with these batteries that they sent, and by the way, these things are like stupid light. I mean, they're like, I think 20 pounds. It's amazing. My son was picking one up to hand it to me in the boat, and it's just like a one-hand exchange. They're very, very light. Which is very nice, especially for you guys that may be kayaking, Or as I said earlier, some people may want to throw one of these in a cart and take it bank fishing or pier fishing with them to provide power for lights or for a radio or whatever you're doing out there. Live wells, aerators, that type thing. So they're very, very light. I give them credit for that. That is one thing that is really cool about them. But what I ended up doing, instead of trying to do the trolling motor route, I ended up putting them on the boat to power my electronics. As I've said before, I have separate batteries from the cranking battery that power electronics, and those have been 12-volt batteries. So I put one on my Lund, and I put one on my skiff, and that's what they did. They have provided power for the sonar, the bilge pumps, the lights, the Lowrance, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where I've been putting them through the paces to see how they work and how they perform. One of the downsides of having a 24-volt battery, a one-piece self-contained 24-volt battery, is that you have to go through some steps to get 12 volts off of it to power your stuff. They make a down converter and all that. Whereas you can pull 12 volts off of a 24-volt system with two batteries. There's some issues there. I'm no electrician. I would check into that before you do that. But the bottom line is, it's nice to have a standalone battery just to power all the 12-volt electronics on the boat. So I put these things into place. One of the issues I had initially was they didn't send a charger with it. And the only charger I had was the 24-volt charger that was charging the one-piece battery that I had. That's the only lithium battery charger that I had. And these are lithium iron phosphate, in case you're wondering. And from everything I was doing research-wise, the lithium batteries, I saw that the lithium batteries charge at a different rate than the lead-acid batteries. And as far as how much is going into it and all that, you can check out some other people that know a lot more about that than I do. I just knew I wanted a separate charger, so I got a different charger for it to charge these things. And got them charged up, got them on the boat, and boom, they're working. They're providing power. Matter of fact, any of my videos you've been seeing on the Lund with the new Lowrance unit that I got, it's all powered by one of these batteries. That's what I've been getting the juice from. And very lightweight. One of the interesting things on the Lund was, and this is in another podcast about the trolling motor, when I took the lead acid batteries out of the front of that boat, in the front of that boat there were two batteries that were powering the old 24-volt trolling motor. These are lead acid batteries, and then there was another one for the electronics. So there was 100 and some pounds of weight in the front of that boat. And when I took those out, the bow rode higher and the trolling motor rode higher. It actually led to some issues because all of a sudden all that weight's gone. But the things have worked. These batteries have worked. They've worked good. There are some downsides to them, and I'll kind of, or I should say, there are some differences between these batteries and some other ones, okay, that I've messed around with. The one thing is they don't have Bluetooth, or at least this model that I have does not have Bluetooth capability. The only way for me to know where it's at voltage-wise is I can pull it up on the electronics on my Lowrance unit. I can go to the instrument panel. It will show me how many volts is coming out of it. Now, that's great because most of the time, this battery, by the way, will run electronics for probably a week on my boat, I would guess. I mean, it just stays at 13.1 volts for a long, long time. But the downside to that is you don't know when it's down to its maximum or minimum range to where it shuts off. Because what happens with lithium batteries, unlike lead acid batteries, this is with all of them, is that they will, a lead acid battery will just run, and let's say you run a trolling motor, it'll get weaker and weaker and weaker until there's nothing there. And it can end up damaging the cells in a lead acid battery, and it's not good. Lithium batteries will shut off. Once they get to a point to where it's not delivering adequate amperage, they will shut down completely. Boom, they're done. They go from running 1 minute to not running the next. And If you don't have the Bluetooth app that works on your phone, you don't know when that's going to happen. So that is kind of one of the downsides to this battery, is that you don't have that Bluetooth app. Now, with that said, I think they sell some add-on products that you can buy that will give you a way to plug into it to monitor that. It's basically a little gauge that shows you where it's at. So you can add on something to see what's going on. Depending on whether you're a boat or a kayak or using these bank fishing, that may be convenient, it may not. So that's something to keep in mind. That is one of the downsides to them. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the downsides, but I'm going to tell you the upside that may be the biggest important thing to any of you. So the other thing is the charging on them. These are not, the ones I have at least, are not heated. Lithium batteries will generally not charge below about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. There is stuff that happens with the chemistry to where you can't charge it. The higher end batteries have a heating cell, blanket, pad, whatever you want to call it, that bring the cells up to a temperature to where they can be charged. Now, if you're bringing the batteries in the house every night or inside your garage, it's not a big deal. If you're like me, you leave the boat sitting outside, that can be a problem, especially if we fish all year long and, we're fishing in the winter. And the boat's going to be sitting out there in sub-freezing temperatures. There will be nights where I'm getting up and it's going to be 22 degrees the next morning to go fishing. So in those kind of situations, you either A, bring the batteries inside to charge them. The good thing is they're light. You can carry them around. Or you put some type of heating blanket, something on it to bring the temperature up on the batteries. I say all that to say this particular battery does not have that type technology in it. I think they make some batteries that may have that. Don't know. You'll have to check it out on the website, which I'm going to put you a link to down in the description. Now, the positive out of all this, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that some of the higher end batteries have, but it's very cheap. Last time I looked, and again, depending on when you watch this, these prices may change. The battery I have, very basic model, about $220. So compared to, some of the more expensive of all the bells and whistles, that's significant. That may be a fourth the price, a third the price. So it's a very affordable battery if you want to get into the lithium battery space. It's roughly twice the price of a lead acid battery. So something to consider there. Now, the one thing is, everything I looked up on the website, as far as I can tell, this is a total Chinese company that has distribution facilities in the U.S. I could find no contact information for anybody in the U.S. So, that may or may not be a problem for you. I didn't see a dealer network. It looks like everything is done by internet order and shipped to you. And basically the way these companies work is they'll be headquartered wherever in the world. They'll have distribution set up here in the U.S. All these big distribution facilities you see around the country on the sides of the interstate, they're not all Amazon, believe it or not. There's actually other companies out there too. And even though I think these things may be available through Amazon, you can go check and see if you're interested in them. But yeah, that's the way a lot of this stuff is done. I see no U.S. distribution network. That may change, who knows? But at the time of doing this, I didn't really see that. So another thing to consider. Now, one thing I'm not totally clear on is the warranty. When you look on the website, you see a 10-year warranty listed with the battery. I scoured the lower section of the website. Typically on these websites, there's a link down there in the bottom to what the warranty is, what is covered. I didn't see that, so I don't know how that is executed, if that is a 10-year comprehensive warranty, or if it's a warranty like most battery companies have, most lithium battery companies have, to where it's a prorated warranty. Most of these companies will have a warranty, maybe replacement for 24 months, and then it's prorated after that. The warranty, it's listed, like I said, in the screenshot there as being 10 years, but how it's executed, I don't know. I think these batteries fill a void. And I said this in one of the podcasts I did a while back, when I first was exploring lithium. and every one of the batteries out there was, you know, $1,100, $1,200, $1,300. I said, the price is going to come down. It's going to get affordable. As more and more of the technology is out there, it will become more and more affordable. And it has. Now, there are some trade-offs. You're not getting all the perks that you get on those expensive ones, but depending on how you're using it and who you are and what you're using it for, and you know, that may be something that works for you. The bottom line is this stuff is becoming more affordable. There's a wider range of what what's being delivered for the price. So this may or may not be something you're interested in. Like I said, I will keep you up to date on what happens with these things. I will probably keep them on here for a while and run them and see how they work. And it's actually freed up some of the old lead acid batteries that I had on there for some other uses around the house. I'm actually using one to run a bait tank. And, you know, that's something there. That's another good example of something that a battery like this, while you may not need all the bells and whistles of a more expensive battery, if you're using it for a portable bait tank, running something in your truck to keep bait alive or run lights, it may be a good alternative. So check them out. I'll put a link in the description where you can see if it's something that works for you. And most of all, as I tell you guys all the time, if you've used any of them, leave a comment in the comment section and keep everybody abreast and informed of what goes on. I think the community knowledge of all this stuff is awesome on YouTube, and it's a good way to kind of spread what you know, what you've learned, and see how it works out. And hopefully you guys can put some to use out on the water fishing. So until next time, we'll catch you out on the water.